So with today's message of consistency, right? And then with consistency, like I said, right, what do you want to do? Or not even what do you want to do? It's like, what do you want to accomplish? And as we come on this mindset call, we always talk about the same thing. So I'll just remind you because it's inhabited in the realm of consistency, right? Is the first thing is, are you goal setting, right? Clearly defining your short-term and long-term goals, right? Breaking them down into smaller and manageable tasks and milestones, right? And this clarity of goal setting helps you stay focused and motivated, right? And then what does your routine and habits look like? Right? Even with your job, you have a routine and habit, right? So are you breaking those habits? Are you making new habits? And are those habits good? Is those are those routine good? Right? Last week, if you was on with Chris, he was talking about like habits could be good and habits could be bad. So which is your habit serving you or serving against whatever your goals are, right? Because establishing a daily routine and healthy habits can provide structure and stability to your life as long as they're serving, right? And consistently following these routines and habits reinforces discipline and fosters the consistency, right? As long as they're good. And then within the goal setting and now the routine and habits, right? The next thing is like you have to have self discipline, right? If you want to join that 7 a.m. club, right? This is something I'm trying to do now. I do wake up a little late, but I stay up later because I always think at night, right? Is that do you have self discipline to consistently wake up at the same time, go to the gym when you said you're gonna go to the gym, eat healthy meals, right? So when you develop self discipline is really to overcome the procrastination, the distractions, and the temptations of different things, right? Because it's easy. It's really easy to eat dessert, but it's really hard to eat salads for some people, not all. But just giving that as an example, right? It's really easy to sit home and binge 8 hours of movies, but it becomes really hard to get up and take a 20-minute walk. And these are the procrastination, distractions, and temptations we often fight with ourselves, right? So even when you're goal setting and when you're writing this down, because we practice, I could definitely say me, Chris, Carlene, the people we have heard on this, right? We practice writing things down as having Chris as a coach, he always tells us write it down. It don't matter what it is, right? Write this same thing down with your self-discipline, right? Like what are you procrastinating against? What are your distractions? What are your temptations? Right? What do you deem easy that's serving against you, that's not serving with you in your goal, right? And then once you write that down, practice that daily, right? Because practice delaying gratification and staying committed to your goals, even when faced with challenges or setbacks, can really help you out. So you have to put this into practice every day. Just know that just because I want to join the 7 a.m. club doesn't mean I'm going to wake up 7 a.m. tomorrow. It's consistent practice, consistent putting that alarm on, consistent practices of I know I can't watch TV or any screen time an hour before bed because it messes up my uh, daily sleep habits. I know to not drink water an hour before bed because it messes up my sleeping habits. I have to make sure that I'm in bed at a certain time. I know I need at least 5 to 6 hours of sleep, so I have to be in bed by 1 a.m. I have to be in bed by 1:30 a.m. to wake up by 7 to do this, right? And that goes into my next point of time management, right? Are you efficiently managing your time, right? And how you do this, or what's recommended is by prioritizing your task, right? Setting deadlines and and avoid multitasking. I know we're in this era, right? Um, of oh, I can multitask, but one thing, right? Not saying it's a bad thing, good thing, but one thing is that when you multitask, one thing doesn't get 100% of your individual attention, right? And sometimes like we multi we I'll give you an example. Sometimes we multitask three things within an hour that doesn't get 100% of our attention versus focusing on one thing for 20 minutes that get 100% of your attention, which you can do a lot more within that time, a whole lot more within that time. But people think if I do multiple things all at once, that a lot more gets done, which is not necessarily true. Think about think about your favorite coworker, because I know we have all worked, right? Think about your favorite coworker you know have done nothing all day in an 8 hour shift, right? And the 8 hour shift does nothing all day, but really only do 2 hours of work. Sometimes it only takes 2 hours per day to do that whole time of work. Is because they concentrated on it, but they didn't do nothing for the whole 6 hours. So imagine if they put 100% of time within those hours, what have they can accomplish? And I know that's not you because you're on this mindset call and you are awesome and you are amazing, right? So make sure you allocate time for important activities while minimizing time wasting activities, right? And again, write that down. What's the time wasting activities? Am I watching Netflix for 2 hours when I can take a 20-minute walk, right? Things like that. Am I eating unhealthy when I have something healthier I can eat as an option, right? And I'm not saying eliminate everything all at once, but slowly folding it in your routine and your habits, right? And the last thing I'll say before we get to the video for today is that I wrote this out, adaptability and flexibility, right? Remain adaptable and flexible in the face of unexpected changes and obstacles, because it will happen. We all know that our day gets disrupted sometimes, right? And we have to learn how to pivot from that. So instead of being derailed by setbacks, adjust your plans and strategies while staying focused on overachieving your goals, right? Because consistency is a skill that improves with practice and continually reflecting on your progress, and you can adjust as you go those different needs and wants so you can accomplish your goal. So this way you can reach that end result. All right. So with that being said, just think about consistency. We're gonna jump in the video and then we'll talk on the back end for another 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't like what you're reaping, change what you're sowing. Change what you're sowing. Change what you're sowing. We have the ability to change what we are sowing, right? Don't feel like you're always just stuck with what's given or what was harvested. Okay. You got to change what you're sowing. And what I'll do is I'll read this right from the 177 Mental Toughness Secrets of the World class, and then I'll get you out of here. But number 15, the world is consistently great. A lot of performers are capable of outstanding performance, but the great ones all have one thing in common: consistency. Day after day, they perform at the very highest levels. The reasons they are so consistent is because their actions are congruent with their thought process. Champions usually have a clear mental picture of what they want, why they want it, and how to move closer to their objective, while average people are complaining about the sacrifices they had to make to be great. The champions have already made those decisions and continue to move forward. Erratic performance is the result of erratic thinking. This is why we're in mindset call. I'll repeat that again. Erratic performance is the result of erratic thinking. So the first step in mental toughness training is gaining mental clarity. Champions invest an inordinate amount of time thinking, planning, and clarifying their goals and targets, as well as mapping out an exact action plan for attainment. And just to touch on this, Chris always says this, but the highest paid position in the world is leadership. And the reason why is exactly because of this, because they invest in inordinate amount of time thinking, planning, and clarifying their goals. And they do that for other people and they do that for other companies. And that's why you see great big companies say like Amazon, right, last throughout the years and become so great because of that, because they have leaders who think, right? Jeff Bezos is a thinker. He's not a doer. He's a doer too, but I'm just saying thinking is what got him where he is because he has a lot of mental clarity, right? Then consistency in performance is the direct result of knowing why is it necessary to perform well and the benefits that will accrue, especially when the going gets tough and the pain sets in. Consistency is also created by practice. Champions are usually thought of as the people with the most talent, and sometimes this is true. Yet champions are known to invest large blocks of time practicing their craft along long after everyone else has gone home. Practice may not make perfect, but it does create consistency and performance. And the action step for today, ladies and gentlemen, is to gain mental clarity and focus. To gain mental clarity and focus. Create a written vision for your life. Imagine your life 5 to 10 years in the future and list all you have done, right? Trying to let somebody in. Sorry. Uh, Accumulated and become during this time. Use the letter to a friend format that we use in our corporate mental toughness university program. Write a letter to a friend, real or imaginary, and date it from 5 to 10 years in the future. Let your creative mind free will without any thought of how you will achieve any of these things. Be sure to include as many details, as much as emotion as possible. When you have a world-class vision for your life, you have taken the first step to world-class performance. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for spending time with us on Monday. We'll be back here Wednesday and Friday, same time, same link.